Now recording. Where that today was a holiday for school, so we appreciate you coming in this evening to listen to the introductory webinar for Module 2. So we appreciate everyone coming in here to listen to this. We, Rick, Janelle, and myself, made these dates. It was one this week that we knew was free, and we didn't realise, well, we did realise, we completely forgot after Easter, but we forgot that schools did on Tuesday. But it's nonetheless, we thought, oh, well, if people come, it's awesome. If they don't, they've got the recording. And I've got apologies from Janelle. She's just kicked off a new project, huge project at Core. So she's still doing her thing there, still working as we speak. So I hope everyone had a good Easter break, well-deserved Easter break, and not too long until the end of the term. For those who went to Ed Sheeran and etc., hope you had a good, safe trip and plenty of partying. And yeah, so kia ora everybody. Let me see. So just what we're going to do today. I'm just going to come back to here. So you can see the goals for today or for tonight. So just going to do a quick reflection on Module 1. Then have a look around Module 2. We'll talk a little bit about Module 2. We'll probably spend more time in looking at the actual whittle and discussing those for number 4, seeing if you have any questions. So that's so first things first. Actually, no, I'm going to stay on here because I've done enough talking, but I will talk a little bit to the next slide so you can have a bit of time to think about it. So what I'm going to do shortly is invite everybody, just to give you some time now, just to have a bit of reflections on Module 1. So how you do this, I know some of you are just by yourself, but people in Roxburgh, Cara and Kristen, you might want to do this as a team. It's entirely up to you. But just some questions there for you just to ponder. Number 1 being something that challenged you from Module 1. So a lot of your reflections that you made after your whittle last week, you talked about a lot of things that perhaps challenged you and what you thought, status quo. Number 2, some new learning. You all shared plenty of new learning from last week. So again, that's another invitation there. Something inspiring. Number 4, something you strongly agree or disagree with. And then number 5, something that changed your mind or perspective. Now there's 5 different, I suppose, reflection things to ponder there. I'm not asking you to do all 5. You can just share 1 or perhaps 2, whatever's on top for you there. So I'm just purely talking to give you time just to ponder all those. So something that challenged you, new learning, something inspiring, something that you strongly agreed or disagreed with, and something that changed your mind or your perspective throughout this course, Te Whakamānawa, and the content that you read, that you engage with, and also in the conversations that you have with your peers, likewise with Rick, Janelle, and me. We will be putting provocations out there for you. We may or may not agree with what we say. It's purely there just to challenge your practice and just to build up the knowledge that you have with your peers, but also across all the schools, the different kura, all the educators, leaders here who are doing this course as well. So I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and bring us all back. And I know some have just popped in just as I'm talking. So just a kia ora and good evening to all those people. So I'm just going to go from connection to the connection. I'm going to start with Rick, just to give you a bit more time, just to ponder things. I'm just going to invite Rick just to share something that perhaps was on top from listening to all the whittle last week. And then from there, I'm going to work my cross. I'm going to start with Roxburgh, then to Isaac, then to Robin, Cara and Kristen, Alice, Fiona and Adele. And good evening, Fiona and Adele. I think I missed you two at the start. So Rick, if I can get to invite you just to jump in, and then we'll head down to Roxburgh. Sure.
Yep. Just from the whittle from topic 1. A lot of things that came out were the working together, working with people to find out who we are or where our school is at, who our learners are. There were some of those comments about, that I've known that learner for a long time and I've only just found that out about them now. So it's about the relationships that we have, and and the relationships with them, not only with our students, but with our staff and with the whānau that come with it. And finding out about our areas, and sometimes it's quite easy to see who is the from that area, because there might be a marae every sort of couple of miles, and in other places there may not be because of the sparseness of the place. But we relate that to the farming as well. For some of the areas, some of the farms are spread out, and you don't see stock on there for a long time, but they move through and graze and use the area when it's needed. So that's how the people use the land as well, and it may just take a little bit longer to find those people. So there's some of the main things that come through from me.
Kia ora, Rick, appreciate that. So just head down to Gary and the team. And again, Roxborough, we know there's a collective of you down there. Again, it might just be you, Gary, speaking for the whole team. I know that always gets a good reception when I say that, Gary. But nonetheless, I will pass it over to whoever's going to talk for the team, or it might be more than one person. So kia ora, Roxborough.
Well, I'll start, but anyone else can add their comments, or sure, ready to go. One of the things that we enjoyed was the cultural iceberg, because I think that we know lots about what's above the surface for our children, but it was getting below the surface and finding out things that were part of more things that were part of the culture and who they are as people, that can help us to better teach them and better understand our families and our children. Carry on, others. Well, so that was the challenge, as well as it was new learning, as well as the challenges that go with that, because we also looked at the fact that we haven't got a whānau group as such. We have in the past had a whānau group. Hang on, we've lost. Hang on. No, we're still here. Right. Yeah. We have in the past had a whānau group that's been part of our school community, but that's not the case at the moment. So it's actually how we get that happening again, because of the way that we've got new people come into our community. So we haven't got anyone who's been here for some time that's prepared to take that leadership role. And we had been trying to get that established last year, but the families were very busy. And so it was difficult to get any movement on that. So it's something we're still, for us. Yes, we're still working on.
And it's not an easy fix. It's going to take time.
So I just delegated that stuff round.
As you do.
Anyone else?
Well, the inspiring thing was hearing everyone else's weru and how impressive what they'd written. That was very good, I thought.
I agree with that.
The sharing, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's us.
Kia ora, Roxborough. Gary and everyone else down there. Always fun to go first and lead off, so appreciate that. And just hearing the uniqueness of your school and your community as well. You talked about a lot of whānau coming and leaving as well, but it's good that you've highlighted and working on some things to move forward with as well. So kia ora, Roxborough. Next up, Robin.
Okay, I guess my main learning was about how powerful those tools were, both the learner profile and I guess the Kauai presentations about building connections between people. It was, really powerful. And also how personalising your pepeha, I got a whole new understanding of doing that and finding what was important to me. I guess my challenge is how to share my new learning with other staff at school. And on a really practical note, the website about the macrons was really, really helpful, and I've already used that several times.
Done, yeah, exactly. And a really interesting point there when you, all the new learning, the interactions, connections that you're going to make through this course, and then taking that learning to your staff as well, and supporting them with that as well. So by all means, you're not alone. That's what Rick, Janelle and myself are here for, but also you've got the whole team here as well. And I know you're not alone in terms of there are like Roxburgh's, the staff are doing it. Some have got colleagues doing it alongside them as well, but there are some individuals doing it as well. So by all means, we've got some ideas there to support you, so you can embed that throughout your school as well. Now, things do chop and change around here, but I've got Cara and Kristen next. Thanks, Robin, and kia ora, you two.
Kia ora. Marina View, if you want to take your mics off and pitch in, you're very welcome to. We did our presentations individually, but we did talk a lot about how we found it, and I'll also speak for myself. It was quite challenging talking about yourself and thinking about yourself and opening up parts of yourself that you would only trust your nearest and dearest with, people that you don't know. That was very challenging. But for myself, and in talking with the colleagues that we presented, it was more about each other. Yeah. Especially as a leadership team, that we're doing it together and building that trust.
Because as a leadership team, we already spent a lot of time together, but we didn't know the personal side of each other. So that was really nice to share an insight into our background outside of school. The new learning for me was clearly my pepeha and my pronunciation, and that's really helped me in the class as well for the children for them to share theirs. And I know how they feel now, really nervous and outside the comfort zone. So, you know, it's knowing what we expect our kids to do and putting ourselves in that situation.
And I think that was really big. We talked about that. We ask kids to do so much, but we don't actually think ourselves as adults what pressure we might be putting on children, and would we do that ourselves, and how would we feel? So I think it's been a big learning curve, and what we do and what we ask of our students. And if we can't do it ourselves, we shouldn't be asking our students to do it.
Feel free to jump in, anyone.
I was practicing Janelle's pause time there. Kia ora, you two. Yeah, exactly. And the empathy, I suppose, that we have got to portray when we think about our learners and we introduce a new topic. And in this case, I was really pleased that you got put out of your comfort zone to learn about the pepeha, but also the pronunciation side of things as well. So kia ora. Alice seems to be dropping in and out. I know, Alice, you're back, so we'll keep moving around on my screen. So Alice, kia ora.
Kia ora. I'm also from Marina View, but I did a learner profile, so I was like super jealous of everyone's lovely pepehas that they did. But for me, it was a little bit different, and I also worked alongside another team member at school, Michelle, and we worked together a little bit with our learner profile, so that was cool. One new learning thing we hadn't spent heaps of time thinking about was adding some cultural stuff in there. We had a lot about their strengths, their interests, and that, but perhaps we needed to put a bit more about the culture and what's important to them, and how we could do more for those kids in the classroom. And I think because we have a learner profile set up for our whole school now, that's quite a powerful resource that we can use and take through with the kids from year to year, which is quite cool. Yeah, but I loved everyone's mihi, and I thought that would have been a cool thing to do, but I chose to do the profile. Yeah.
Kia ora, Alice. And that's the same comments we got last year when we did the course from everyone did it there. They said, oh, we didn't know what to choose, and we wanted to kind of do that. So by all means, hey, you can still do your mihi, do your pepeha as well. But we definitely didn't want to prescribe where all that you say, right, you have to do this as well. But just probably that two things I put in the chat box there from the last as well was around the connections, the importance of that, and knowing your learners and knowing even the people that you work with as well to make those connections. And then from the holistic view as well, when you talk about your learner profiles, what information are we collecting? Data, numbers, etc., but also the anecdotal and where that comes from as well. Kia ora. Next up, skipping through, Isaac. Kia ora.
Yeah, hello, how are you? one thing I think was challenging for me was actually looking into my own culture and actually seeing what I actually bring to the classroom and what kind of beliefs and culture I was actually showing. That was quite interesting to see. In a Babylon? Wait, he's waving at you. Here we go. Yeah, so it was interesting to have actually look at myself and what kind of things I'm taking into my classroom that I probably actually wasn't aware of for a lot of that time, and making sure that you get the kind of everyone in the classroom involved and get their culture in there somehow, so that it's not just one culture or two. For me, I had a lot of discussions, especially with my family, around the structures of the pepeha, because my wife being from down the Waikato, we had a lot of discussions about how it should be structured and what the different parts of it mean. So I learned a lot about that. So it was really cool. And also helped me learn a lot about her family and my children, their place of mana, as well as integrating it into my own culture as well. I found it really inspiring to learn about my colleagues. A lot of things I didn't know about them and a lot of connections made there. It was really cool to actually find out some new information about that and learn where everyone actually comes from within our school. So it was cool. Yeah, that's me.
Good, Isaac. And we really, reflecting back on last week, we enjoyed the input of your daughter there as well, the whole involving the whānau side of things. And by all means, when you perhaps come to Janelle, when you talk about pepeha mihi and the structure of things, you will get different ideas and different whakaaro, different thoughts about it. And mine's a little bit different from Janelle's, and that's perhaps due to who taught us. Janelle whakapapa's back to Tainui up the Waikato way. I whakapapa back to Taranaki. So we have a kind of different perspective on that. And then we obviously got influences, like we all do, in different things. And I know there's one person who's a big influence on me in terms of the real teaching side. Tend to follow what she said as well. So kia ora, Isaac, for making that as well. And next up, Fiona. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Just to start with, I totally agree that relationships are number one and most important. But I hadn't probably thought as much about letting them get to know me too much. I might have done my pepeha, but really probably not too much more beyond that. I connected with one of the videos that talked about not seeing colour, and until now, the gentleman talking to Janelle had said that he hadn't, he doesn't see colour, and he saw that as something he was really proud of, and that's probably something I've been thinking about a lot recently. I read a really good book that talked a lot about it, and I totally agree. We should be celebrating and so forth, and that kind of took me to some of my other readings, which is looking around the idea of decolonizing the classroom, which is pretty deep, and hoping that these next couple of modules will start to go into that. But yeah, that's, I think using Māori strategies can definitely, like a pepeha and connecting with those can definitely start to take you down that journey. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Fiona. Thanks for sharing your reflections. And when you said about decolonising the classroom, it kind of, oh, here we go. This is what I like to hear. Getting real into that real meaty stuff, because we know the those sometimes awkward conversations comes growth, and obviously we know what we're here for. And you've joined up to this course to have these discussions, to be challenged, and to learn from everybody as well. And by all means, if you have any questions, thoughts, and stuff from there, don't forget about the chat box there. So big piki mihi, big. Thanks to Rick in there. I'm just chucking in some ideas about from people as well. Adele, kia ora.
Kia ora. I'm part of the Roxburgh crew, so a lot of the things they've already brought up, the challenges they've talked about already. So personally for me, the best thing was the working together, and really a lot of what everyone else said, what the Cara and Kristen were talking about, sharing with their classroom and being challenged that way. And for me, getting up and presenting my mihi to the class and the whole process I was going through, and then helping them with theirs, that was really valuable. So that was probably the best thing I got out of doing that. yeah, I don't have much more to add. I think everyone else has sort of added all the things I thought of as I was going through, so I don't have a lot more to add.
Okay, te pai. Kia ora. That's perfect. You know, you share what you want to, and we appreciate any ideas as well. Just before I pass over to Jill, just Robin has popped in a question there to you, Fiona, about what book you're reading. You might be typing that already as well. Jill, kia ora.
Kia ora. I'm part of the Marina View group as well. I did the learner profile, and what I learned was, or what's really stood out for me was the sheer level of information I got when I included the student and the family as well, rather than just have the student complete it. The student did complete one of their own, but the contrast was quite vast. I think also in that profile, I didn't add the cultural information, so that is something I'll work on next. And I'm thinking about that. We had discussions, quite a lot of discussion on Friday, and it came up about the importance of developing a learner profile for each cultural group. So I thought that was also something that we could work towards. So that's all from me.
Kia ora, Jill. And yeah, exactly. And I just think, well, first of all, thanks for introducing what school you're going from as well. And just for everybody here, we all kind of come in and we kind of think, oh, I'm Marina View, I'm from Roxburgh as well. So appreciate it as well. And also you made the point about you started to learn a profile. Straight away you've identified, hey, we need to add in this cultural part as well. And that's what it's all about, you know. That's what we're here for, to challenge that status quo and what things are going, because we want change as well. And thanks for Fiona for popping that in as well. I'm just going to scroll through to make sure that I have given everyone a chance to talk. Any further comments about any of those reflections, anything that's Rick, myself, or anyone else, Fiona, Robbins, comment on them, please by all means just chuck them into the chat box. But just now for the next, or for the remainder, I'm just going to do a bit of an intro to module 2, and then more so introduce the whittle, and then just pass it back over to everybody just to see if there's any questions. But before we do, I'm actually in Christchurch. So I'm in my brother's house. This is my brother's house. So I'm in a different place today, and hence my different setup, and usually got 2 screens. But anyway, that's another kaupapa. I was at Core's office today and had to do my mihi twice. And it's funny when you do your mihi, because you don't know what to include and what not to include. And that's kind of the things that you'll do, those kind of situations as well. So at the start, Janelle was actually there too. She said, can you do the whakatau? So can you just, whakatau means to settle everybody down. You might have heard of mihi whakatau. It wasn't as big as that. But I just welcomed everybody in there because we had some people from, obviously, outside, of course, of other companies as well. And then we did around the table, talked about, everyone did their mihi or introduced who they were as well. And again, straight away, we started making those connections. And afterwards, when we got into the mahi and then we had a break for morning tea, someone came up to me and he said, oh, do you know Tahu White? I said, yeah, he's from Waitara. Waitara's where I live. And she said, oh, yeah, yep. And then we got kind of making those connections as well. We got started talking. And then I said, oh, Sheridan, I remember when I was teaching, you ran a course and I went to it. And she goes, oh, yeah. So it's all about those making those connections. And in the afternoon, we had another little kind of sub-meeting, and it was just a face-to-face, very quick mihi. So I thought, okay, I know some of these people. Some of them don't, what they need to know about me. Connections. Name, where I live, who I work for, iwi. 4 things. Big things to make those connections. Okay, so people know I live in Taranaki, they know I'm Te Atiawa, that's my iwi. They know my name, and they know I work for Core as well. So, it's just all about, I wouldn't say reading the room, but it's making those connections. It's so important. And when you have a kai with somebody and they come straight up to you and go, do you know so-and-so? That's what making those connections is about as well. But that's enough for me. Janelle's not here tonight, so I get to talk a bit more. Anyway, before we look at module 2, you might see that in module 1 you may have not had a chance to look at all the resources. Kei te pai, remember you've got access to this course for a year, so that's a year until the start date next term. Next term 1, 2019. I can't even keep up. So even though you might not have had a chance to look through all the links and watch all the videos, etc., you've still got access to this course all the way through until this time next year. So that's just one thing, just want to make sure that we emphasise to you all, and that's likewise to access to all the forums, everyone's Whittle as well. So if you think back, actually, we want to do a learner profile, where can we start? Jump back into module 1. There's obviously links and videos there for you to watch, and there's plenty of examples for you to use as well. So, sharing my screen now, taking us into module 2. Before I go to module 2, just a reminder that one mechanism that we use to give you feedback is by use of the rubrics. So that's Rick, Janelle, myself will jump into your rubrics where you'll see you do a baseline data mark where you are at now in terms of the question statements that are on the rubric, and then we will provide you feedback about what things are. And likewise, I know I've had a quick read through some of them, and some of you have actually asked questions, or I suppose put kind of questions in there that perhaps are for you individually or for you as your team, and we'll jump in and just add to those things as well to help you to support you with your next steps in there as well. So that's the rubrics, just a quick reminder about that. Next thing, we're not going to do Tippy Heidi. Tippy Heidi needs to go all around, but just an introduction to the second module. It is live, so you can access it now. It's available. It's called Aotearoa Tēnei. So this is Aotearoa, and it really delves deeper into what is cultural responsive practice and the relevance, and what it actually looks like in our schools and our settings as well. So when we talked about before about actually the next step, and I think Fiona, you talked about this as well, this really starts to unpack some of that stuff that you talked about, you know, what are we actually doing in schools, what does it look like? I really want to get into this, so this is actually the start of that stuff as well. So Kowai Tātou was the first one, making those connections, understanding who we are, and now we're actually looking at what does a bilingual, bicultural school setting context look like based around where we are, and what does cultural responsive practice actually mean, and what does it look, feel like at our school. So that is module 2. The big thing in module 2 is obviously the Whittle. Now, just to re-emphasise about the Whittle, some of you did it individually, obviously some of you only can do it individually, some of you did it in groups. Kaya koutou. Kaya koutou, it's up to you. Now, if you're doing individual and you see an opportunity to work with somebody else from another school who's doing this as well, who's doing the Whakamānawa, then by all means, make that connection. We can support you with that as well. These Whittle are ideas. If you've got something else that you want to extend from here, change, adapt for your context, then kaya koutou. That's my phrase, isn't it? Go for it. It's up to you. Kaya koutou. It's up to you. So these are the Whittle for module 2. So number 1, there, obviously, I've just kind of talked to that. And again, you could do the other at a later time. Now, don't forget, this is a bit of a thing from the first one, is that if you are in a group in a school, Roxburgh, for example, Marina View, then you could do different Whittle as well. So that's just another thing just to be aware of as well. So you can just split them up. But if you want to do the same Whittle, then that's fine. Kaya koutou, it's up to you. And don't forget, it's up to you how you present it. So Google was quite popular in module 1. Google was quite popular. Use of video, YouTube was popular as well. They are just some of the examples. There are other presentation tools up there that you want to do as well. It's purely up to you of how you do things as well. You've seen how they're structured in presentations. So you get roughly 3 to 5 minutes to talk about it. And obviously we can go back and view them online as well. And don't forget, because you might be working as a whole staff, or you might be working as a group of your staff, or as an individual, don't forget it's a good opportunity to engage with your colleagues about their ideas, students, whānau as well, and of course iwi and apu where you can as well. Now before we go to questions, I'm just going to jump out of here. I'm going to bring up my screen, and I am jumping in. Just going to move that out of my way. No Whittle. So here are the Whittle, and because I've got a different screen, hopefully you can see the whittle. Some give me a thumbs up to see you can see the whittle on there. Hopefully you can, cool. And don't forget you can look at this on Moodle yourself, but just hopefully for your benefit here as well. So again, whittle, and the drop down box there as well. So the challenge activities. So number one is redesign a learning space. So remember, this is about ko Aotearoa Tēnei. It talks about what is cultural responsive practice, what does it look like at our school, what does it feel like, what does it sound like, and on top of that, what does biculturalism, what does bilingualism also mean at our school as well. So this is where these challenges are, these we'd all fall out from as well. So number one again is redesigning a learning space, so any space within your school, to better reflect our bicultural heritage. Now, again, heaps of opportunities here to present this. So some ways you could be before and after photos or footage, and then the second one there, why you made the changes you did, and any other ideas you have for future developments. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, engage with wānau students, iwi and apu, to develop a tikanga or a mātou kura. So te tikanga o a mātou kura, so our school's tikanga, a way of doing things and being. So this might include beginning of the year processes such as a mihi whakatai. So when you've got new students or new kaiako, new staff joining, you might have a lot of schools now are having mihi whakatai. Also the place of te reo in our school. So when you're going to use te reo, there are some appropriate contexts and times that you can use te reo Māori in your school. Some guidelines for the integration of mātauranga Māori. So Māori ideas, Māori knowledge, mātauranga is knowledge, strategies and processes for engaging with students, wānau and iwi and apu. And then number three, create an integrated learning plan. Or you can take an existing one and it has a Māori lens. So mātauranga Māori, so that Māori knowledge, values, kaupapa Māori, Māori ways of doing things over the content, and include opportunities for integrating the reo and tikanga Māori practices. So they are the three challenges. So a lot of it's taking an existing thing and then putting it, I suppose, looking at it from a Māori perspective, that mātauranga Māori ideas, and the content in the course will help you support you with this. And don't forget, last year's whittle will be also available for you as well, so you can get some ideas from that. Okay, so the other three challenges. Don't forget, if you've got an idea that kind of fits into that you want to explore further, that sits, I suppose, better fits your context, kaya koutou. It's up to you. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to stop sharing my screen, bring us all back, and I'm now going to put myself on mute. And if you have any questions about any of the challenges, by all means, you can pop them into the chat box and I'll go there. And we'll go around and see if there are any questions. I'm not going to call anybody up yet. I might, if no one takes a mic, I might call people one by one, but otherwise, kia koutou, it's up to you, it's your time. Any questions, clarifications about the module, about the use of Moodle, or more so about the whittle as well. Kia ora. And I've unmuted myself. I'm going to have to do it. And I'm going to start with you, Adele. Adele, kei te pai, or just so anybody, if you don't have anything, just let me know. If you say no questions, then that's cool. I'm just going to go around just to double check, just to make sure, Adele, any questions, any clarifications about any of this?
Not really. Sorry, not yet. I need to have a better look through, and then I may have some. But at the moment, no. No, it all looks good. I'm starting to think about it. Just sitting here quietly thinking about it. But no questions at the moment.
Cool. And thanks for being first. Thanks for being first. And look what happened, Adele. You straight away jumped in, and then I can see people using the chat box quickly typing no questions. So Fiona, no questions from you. Robin, no questions. Jill, any questions from you about this?
No, I don't have any questions. I'm a little bit similar. I need to do reading first.
Yeah. Okay. Robin, Fiona, done. Cara and Kristen, any clarifications?
With the second question, if you've already started consulting with your community, for example, part of your PLD inquiry, or what Bill and I might be doing, or the rest of the team, are you able to put in what you've already been working on this year, because it's part of one of your goals? But we have answers not there yet. There isn't actually a conclusion as to where we're at with starting, because it's very similar to what we're doing with that.
Turn your mic on, Anita.
Okay, so I'm just going to have to jump in. I was just, I didn't want to talk over you, but I just couldn't hear your question. I don't know if it's my headphones and my different setup, but just to be aware that when you talk to your computer, your microphones are quite directional. So if you talk over the top of it, it just gets completely lost. So can I just invite you just to pull the computer a bit closer and talk to the computer so I can just answer your question. Sorry about that. Kia ora.
Question 2 is very similar to professional learning inquiry that we've started this year. Pōwhiri, Māori consultation, meeting with parents. Are you able to use what you've started a journey on, but there isn't an outcome yet? We haven't got a solution, and that's a long way off. To do something along those lines, which we're already currently working on and pursuing which is a whole year piece of learning.
Yeah, by all means, definitely. I think Janelle Mayer made this point in the first module that this could just be the process, the start of something, or something that you've already started, and the outcome, as you've said, may not happen. It might be something that happens, as you say, towards the end of the year or even into next year. So by all means, what you've done so far with your inquiry can be used. But yeah, this is what this is about. Building on the things that you've already started, the good practices that are already happening. So if you've got something there that you can use, and what you've just said, then go for it, and that's just perfect. And even though you might not have the outcome, you're still going to have plenty to share about actually what we've done so far, why we've done it, and then actually, you know, what are some of the next steps that we can do. And there's plenty of chances for us to learn and even to support and give you some ideas as well. So kia ora, by all means, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Robin, no questions from you. Roxborough, any clarifications down south?
No, we were having a discussion among ourselves which one we might look at, but no questions at this stage.
Kia ora, Gary. Thank you. Anyone else down there? Alice, anything from you? Nope. Oh.
All good. We were going to sit down probably as a group and have a little chat about it and do some reading and see what we can come up with.
Bye. Kia ora. Isaac?
No, I have no questions, but what I was thinking is that our school has a cultural focus in term 3 this year, so I was just actually brainstorming some cool ideas that maybe we could do with an integrated learning plan around kind of New Zealand history and the different views that people have on things from today, from what happened in the past. And do the kids in the class actually know what happened, and do they know about the land wars and all that kind of stuff?
Kia ora. Thank you. Yep, by all means, you know, it's got to be something that you're going to use, and this is what we really tried to do. So anything within those 3 ideas there that you can adapt for something that you're definitely going to use, then please, by all means. And actually, I was looking through one of my feeds just before, and I noticed there was a article about New Zealand land wars or the New Zealand wars, and that being in the curriculum or not being in the curriculum as well. And Fiona, I've noted your comment down there. Kia ora, Fiona. That's all Katipai. That's good. But Te Takana o Te Wā is an awesome resource. Is an absolutely superb resource that I can strongly recommend to all schools for you to use as well. So please just Fiona, timely, kia ora, thanks for that. And by all means, really worthwhile and what you've talked about as well from there. Adele, I've talked to Fiona, you've got no questions I can see popped in here. Sorted. Before we close off, I'm just going to pass it over to Rick. He might have anything, he might have something to clarify. And then we'll finish up. I'll finish up to karakia, and that'll be it for this evening. Rick, anything to add?
No, I'm all good. I'm all good. Yeah, good job. I had to find my unmute button.
I'm here in Eureka. I've got a different setup today. I'm all over. Okay, kia ora everybody. So yeah, please, by all means, I know some of you are going to go away and have a look at the content, divvy that up, and then come back and actually decide, hey, this is what we're going to do. So by all means, if you have any clarifications about the Whittle, about how you want to present it, anything like that, any of the content, as I said, then by all means, get in touch with us. I send out weekly forums, which are all subscribed to. I actually sent out 2 today, one with the reminder for this webinar, and then the second one was just a bit of a tips and tricks about the use of Moodle, because I know if someone posts and you're subscribed to that forum, you get quite a few emails, so you can digest it. So you get one at 5 o'clock in the evening, and then something about Google as well, just to make sure that you share your Google Docs correctly. That is all Google Docs that you have done for your presentation. So that's me. So by all means, invitation again, any clarifications about any of the contents, your Whittle, get in touch with us. And again, the last year's Module 2 Whittle will be available online for you to have a look as well. And the sharing from last year, just like in Module 1 for everyone here, was just I suppose kind of really privileged and grateful just to be, for people just to be so open and to share their ideas, their uniqueness, their challenges as well, and of course those opportunities that fall out from that as well. And before I do cut a care, just again, just to thanks everyone just been so supportive of the online community. The thing about learning online, it's flexible. We've made those connections, and just appreciate everyone on Moodle commenting about everyone's Whittle, and likewise down the side here, just sharing resources and communicating with us via that way as well. I don't need to bring up the karakia, but again, huge thanks to everyone who's just come in tonight. I know it's been a long weekend, and today was a holiday for you all. So I hope you've enjoyed your well-deserved break, and we'll see you online. We're always here, and not too long to go to the end of the term as well. So please, by all means, Rick, Janelle, and myself are here to support you. We can, so please let us know how we can. So, ki pai te pō. Have a good evening, everybody. Kia koutou, it's up to you, it's your choice. Me no tātou, unuhia te pō wari marama, tumo ki e te ao whatu tangata, tātai ki rango, tātai ki raro, tātai a orau, haumia hui e, tā ki e. Kia ora everybody, kia pai te pō, have a good evening, pō Māori e. And see you online, and for everybody who's watching this on demand. Thank you.
So was the first session sort of similar, or was, I thought these were